So we are the true terrorists to our people. And I found out that if I didn't fight that message, that in a few years, the thousands that were following me might one day find themselves in that cell. So I woke up to fight to show these kids that there has to be a better way. There has to be a way where we could tell the Justice Department we are not the terrorists of your neighborhood. We are not who we are becoming. Give us a chance to show you the change. And after that day, I found out that I needed to be a messenger for my group and encourage other messengers to do the same for theirs. Of course, they're one of the biggest groups around the country, and they're just like any police force, Justice Department, Army, Navy. You got your good ones, and you got your bad ones. The gang ain't bad all as a group. The gang is a reflection of its community's hate, abandonment, and false promises. The immigrant, the other, is looking for a place to be safe. People are looking for people to love them, and so through that whole thing, I found out that the voiceless have to become powerful with their own voice and tell their own story. We have to stand in our own blocks. We have to fill our own schools. And I wanted Kings to start to learn that policing your community doesn't make you hot, doesn't make you weak. It empowers us to fight and to find out and to ask the real questions. Why? Why is America willing to have a war against poverty? Why are they so scared where they'll go, we got a war against gangs, we got a war against drugs? I never seen the president say, I declare war against poverty. I declare against negligence to our youth. I want the immigrant of today to have the same opportunity as the one from yesterday. So all these, like you see, it was a stool ball of, and my guys were like very optimistic. But they were like, you know this shit ain't gonna last, right? Because you're marching, you're doing it, you're getting the media, they see it all, but they hear the back talk, right? They're not real, they're fake. So what I'm trying to say, in our best ability and the chance I had to help them change, my greatest opponent became the very people who told us they wanted us to change. Because they took the outlook, if we let you change and make you think that a gang could become a good guy, then who's the bad guy? So we have to stay in the box they put us in. And that's what I taught the guys. Never be content of being who they tell you are or act the way they want you to portray to be, but find out who you are and demonstrate that with the power of love, unity, respect, honesty, unity, all those values our parents gave us. And that's all I did. I reconnected us with the true values of community. So now, just so I could guess, so after I started the movement and I marched against, I found myself back in prison. Not because I was a killer or anything. I found out when you fight the system fights back. And they gave me 13 and a half years for being a lookout to a drug tape. They gave me 3 years no human contact, like my mentor. Just 3. And in that process, I perfected my message. I let go of the little bit of the hate I had left. I didn't gain more hate for being treated that way. And I looked myself in the mirror and I seen that me myself had imperfections and my message was still taunted in some ways. So God gave me the space to fix it in those years. And I came out and I created a program called Grow Up, Grow Out. It's my small business. I opened it in 2015, after I came home 2009. And I started teaching street power groups and their most articulate leaders where to find the help in the outside influences to teach them what I learned and to master their message and their purpose. So now that's what I do. I consult in Ecuador. I've been to Sweden, Spain, Madrid. But now I call home Baltimore and I work with DC and Clinton Lacey, who is the director of the Department of Youth and Rehabilitation Services, where we mastered having a mentor next to the system person, the case manager, the police officer, And when we become the buffer, and we become the conscience of the process, and we protect both sides from that hate and that vision of that they're enemies. And I teach Justice Department, community, power group, and church to sit at a table. Instead of flying in these expensive guys with blue eyes, big ties, and big knowledge that ain't from the hood, who tells you the problem, then they fly out after you give them 50 G's. I bring the cheapest resolve that you could find. I bring the problem to the table. And what happens when they hear the problem talk is quite amazing, right? They go, so what does the gang want? And when the gang member's there, and they go, tell us. A job. A job! I want to be safe. Safe! Because they expect, the other crazies to ride.
Yeah.
Oh, we want y'all to get out the hood and not police us. That's not what they ask for. They ask for the basic things that every man in America wants. Safety, love, right? And the opportunity to become more, to advance, to not get stuck in the gang. You could grow up out of the Boy Scouts. You could grow up out of college. You could sure as hell grow up out of a gang if we give you the tools to do it. You will evolve. You will meet your self-empowerment, and you will move on from that. And that's what we're saying. Don't judge them. That's their Boy Scout. Let's just show them that that's not forever. It's a moment. It's a place for the time. That too shall pass. And don't turn a moment to a lifetime, but have the power to turn a lot of moments to a memory of a lifetime, right? And that's what we do in Grow Up, Grow Out. We unite all three phases of our community, that you can't do it without the police officer. You can't do it without the church. And you can't do it without the power groups being there with you. And now it's catching on, and it's being a message that people are understanding now.
All right. That's incredible that you were...
The advice I give all power groups, and I'm going to say this, we're at a unique time in the history of America. We've got a man in power that showed us that to be in the highest power seat in America doesn't mean that you're a classy, you're elegant, you did it all right, and you live by the rules. And to sit in that seat, we have all these moments that they held Obama to and every other man before, that they sold us that to be in that seat, we will not let nobody who doesn't stand for these values. We found out that is different. We also know that times and laws are changing. So I would like all the power groups in America with the community and the churches, wouldn't it be unique if we did safe spaces where the mentors and the power groups will start registering and giving a voice to us, the deplorables, the minority. And then when 3 years, when that time comes, we together pull the biggest trigger in the world that we ever pulled. We take one shot, one kill. We take that man out of that power. We lay him in front of the White House, and we put a yellow line like they do in the hood, and we put up the ropes, and we could finally say, we committed the first violent act without violence. We removed the most powerful man in the world by uniting and using the real trigger that changes things, the trigger to vote, the trigger to empower ourselves and tell people as a unit what we want. And I swear and I believe, and God has put in my heart, that if we do this power groups, Bloods, Crips, Nietas, and we start encouraging our people to get involved politically, to get involved in the community, we, the people, will win that spot back. We, the people, will put someone there that reflects us. But if we keep up with the old saying, we ain't powerful, and we keep pointing the guns at each other, they will continue to bring the message of who we are, what we are, and how we are. So please, let's take our power back. Let's give respect to the authorities and the people around us and show them all we want is to be accepted, to be loved, and to get the opportunity to move from this stage in our life. So if that's the message, is that believe in hope, because people behind the wall are depending on us, the dudes that love them and throw up all the gang signs, to make sure that man doesn't pass laws that'll torture them more. That's our responsibility, and that's who we are. So please, thank you, and if you see a credible messenger, you see a mentor, open your arms, because we're not snitches, we're not on nobody's side. We're on the side of love, respect, and honesty. So I commend you for hearing, I commend you for coming, but most of all, act. Because if we don't act, we will never change.
Well said, well said.